Welcome to
Wild in the Sheets.
Wild in the Sheets.
Welcome to the Bon Jovi Talk podcast.
So we are back on the Bon Jovi Talk podcast, and a familiar face already. We've got Mitch on again. So if you listen to the last podcast with me and Mitch, we spoke a lot about Bon Jovi B-sides and how a lot of them haven't made Bon Jovi albums, and it's quite criminal that some of them have been left out and you've never heard them live. And it's typical Bon Jovi, certainly the past 15-20 years, where the brilliant songs have been left off completely. So we've said that we're going to do a full podcast just on B-sides and demos and whatever else that's unreleased from the band. Mitch, where would you like to start with the B-sides?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm going to start with a John Bon Jovi B-side called I Talk to Jesus. It is from his Destination Anywhere solo album, and it is just a fun song, and take the way, some people go, well, it's a religious connotation. And take that out of it for a second. It is just a fun song, and I really think that some of the stuff that he did solo should be brought into the Bon Jovi camp, and that is definitely one of them. He also does a cover of Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak as a B-side, and I don't know. I like the way they did the Boys Are Back in Town, so why not bring Jailbreak over to the Bon Jovi side?
I've always thought, because I'm a big fan of I Talk to Jesus as well, and I always, when I first ever listened to it, I always thought it was a Bon Jovi song, because it's still got that type of Bon Jovi sound, I think. Do you reckon that's why it was left off Destination Anywhere?
Repeat?
So, I Talk to Jesus. Do you think it's too familiar sound with the Bon Jovi sound, and that's why John kind of left it off? I think it was Destination Anywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff on the John Bon Jovi solo stuff that sounds distinctly Bon Jovi. I mean, obviously you can't get away from the voice. I mean, Bon Jovi or John Bon Jovi, the voice is Bon Jovi for the most part. So I really don't know. It might have been what you're saying, but it could also just be because of the word Jesus. They didn't want to maybe offend anybody. I mean, who knows? There's a lot of maybe it just wasn't ready. But if you listen to Destination Anywhere, most of it is very sort of slow, and it's very sort of, I don't want to say morose, but it's just sort of, it's down. Maybe this was just too upbeat for that album.
It's very different, yeah. That's I think, as good as a song it is, I can't really imagine it fitting on Destination Anywhere. Just for that reason, as you said there, Destination Anywhere is quite mid-tempo, kind of Britpop, slow songwriting type of album.
It's very serious.
Yeah,
it's so serious.
it's very different. And as I Talk to Jesus is very Bon Jovi-esque. I think it would fit on a bunch of Bon Jovi albums.
Oh yeah.
Before we came on air, you were saying about the These Days B-sides that you really like, and the unreleased stuff. Any in particular?
Well, the band, for many of their albums, have put out a lot of these B-sides. During Crush, they sent out a whole bunch of B-sides. During Keep the Faith, we had Starting All Over Again, etc., etc. But on These Days, they had so many. They had special releases. They covered all. One of them, it was I think the CD singles for This Ain't a Love Song. They had a song on there called Prostitute, and another one called Wedding Day. It is my opinion that most of the B-sides from that era are better than what ended up on the album, and the album itself is great. But for example, Something for the Pain, which was a cute little ditty, I think if you take that off and you put in Prostitute or you put in Wedding Day, you up the game, right? So I just love everything they were doing at that time. It's amazing sometimes when you look back and you look at a song like Edge of a Broken Heart and you go, wow, that's not on the album.
Yeah.
Sometimes the decision, and by the way, it's not just Bon Jovi. I've said the same thing sometimes about Kiss or about Aerosmith or about Van Halen, and you just go, wow, that didn't make it? How's that possible?
Well, I think with Bon Jovi, I mean, because they're probably they are my favourite band, I always think, I listen to a lot of the B-sides more than a lot of the album stuff these days, no pun intended, but there's so many great demos and great B-sides, and you only have to look at the box set as well, the 100 million Bon Jovi fans can't be wrong box set. There were so many great songs that were left off albums we didn't even know, or songs that we didn't know existed, and there's certain songs that we don't even know what albums they were meant to be on. There's just so many songs that have been left off albums, it's crazy. And I know obviously bands write so many different songs and so many different albums and whatever else, but Bon Jovi are one band that I've always listened to the demos and B-sides and thought it's criminal that hasn't even been as like a bonus track, let alone included.
Oh yeah, I fully agree. I mean, again, we'll go back to these days. Bitter Wine is a B-side. In Europe, it was part of the album, but in Canada and in the States, it wasn't. That is a fantastic song. All I Want Is Everything is another one that was left off. Boy, I'm just trying to think some of the other ones that were left off of that. Just so many. And then, of course, all the covers that they did during that time. So let me look at some of these here. So on these days, they did a cover of on the CD singles and stuff, Helter Skelter. Mm-hmm. They did I Thank You, Sam and Dave cover. They did Mrs. Robinson. I Don't Like Mondays. They had done Tumbling Dice. I mean, can you imagine? This is the stuff you're throwing out.
Yeah. And I want to know your thoughts on the song The End, which was another these days one. It's very different. I don't know. I presume you've heard The End. It's very. It reminds me a bit of the Beatles.
Yeah. I have The End. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can Rolodex this real quick here. Hold on. Here, the where is my? I can't read. But yeah, I do have that, and I think that's a great song. The End. It is another one of the. You look at all these demos and you really think to yourself, wow, these days could have been a double album. You look at Guns N' Roses, they put out Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, and most people go, wow, take the 10 best songs, you've got one great album. With Bon Jovi on these days, you look at all the demos and you go, that should have been a double album because they got a lot of good stuff there, It's unbelievable, and the song you mentioned there is so good, such a great song. How do you leave that off? Quite honestly,
again, I don't know whether it's just because it was so different to the rest of the album, but then as you said, so is Something for the Pain, and so is maybe like even Diamond Ring is totally different to the rest of the album, and I don't know. I just think it's a totally different sound. It does genuinely remind me a little bit of the Beatles. I don't know why. It's just got that type of vibe to it.
See, here we go. I have managed to dial it up here. There you go. There you go.
It's so 50-50, but I really like it.
No, I like it. I think it's great. I think it's a great vocal performance. I think it's a great song. Boy, why it was left off, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those. Where else do we want to go? How about the Have a Nice Day stuff?
Oh yeah. Well, to be honest, a good job you said that because I'm a big fan of the Have a Nice Day B-sides and demos and bonus tracks. So that's a good one to go to.
Yeah, so which one do you want to start with?
Well, my favourite, I think my favourite ever B-side or demo is the song Nothing. It got left off because apparently it was too similar to I Am, or that's certainly what the fans think. and I think it should have been put in above I Am, personally. I think it's just John's vocals, the beat, and we've never really got like a top quality version of it. It's kind of quite tinny, the version that we've all got, but such a good song.
Oh, I think I have a very good version of it. Hold on. There you go.
Yeah, I think there's just a little like compressed to it. Someone done a remastered version of it about 18 months ago or so, and it is better. It's definitely better. But yeah, I think that's such a stunning song. And that's probably in all honesty, it's probably in my top 10 Bon Jovi songs. Like,
it really is. And the other thing about hold on a second. The other thing about Nothing is the band had done these songs, for that album, Have a Nice Day. They did two versions, right? They did an initial version of the album. They brought it to the record company, and the record company went, go start over. And a lot of songs had lyrics rewritten, and they had things changed, and Have a Nice Day, the song itself, had this incredible bridge in it. It had this sort of blood on blood feel to it, and they snipped it all out and they made it a shorter song. Who Says You Can't Go Home had been done with Keith Urban, but then when you listen to it, you go, who's singing right now? You really couldn't tell. So they said, okay, let's go get a female voice, and at least you'll be able to tell who's singing. So if they had been able to release Have a Nice Day, the original version, I think that would have been great. And have you heard that Have a Nice Day, the song, that sort of 6-minute version with the bridge in the middle?
Yeah, and they done something similar with I Wanna Be Loved as well, I think, where they kind of had to redo a certain chunk of that song as well.
Yeah, and I Want to Be Loved, also the lyrics changed. It went from sort of third-person view to first-person view. Or the other way around. It was like, I did this, and then it became you did this. So, yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes I think record companies overthink things, and it's unfortunate. It would be nice if sometimes the artist's vision could be put out the way it was meant to be. Ron Young of this band Little Caesar was telling me this story recently about a conversation with John Kolodner, and he said, John, he goes, you didn't make us, you discovered us.
Yeah.
Let us be us. That is why you discovered us, because you liked what we were doing. So let us do what we are doing. And I think fans have responded well over the years to Bon Jovi, obviously. Stadiums, right? So everything's a stadium tour. Yeah. We're approaching 40 years. And yet every so often a record company will go, hey, you should do this. And it's like, oh, really? You're going to tell John Bon Jovi that he should do this? Really? Okay.
But there's another song on Have a Nice Day which got left off, and it's a little bit similar to Nothing as well, which was These Open Arms. And again, that's just such a good song. It's a very almost typical Bon Jovi, say like post-2000 ballad, but it's just got something about it that elevates it a little bit better for me as a song. And it's another one that I don't know how was left off. You could have maybe taken out something like Last Cigarette, or I don't know, maybe I Am or something like that. I mean, I quite like I Am, but I think Nothing or These Open Arms definitely should have made the album.
Yeah, and you look at that album and you say Last Cigarette should be left off, and it's like, yeah, how do you put that on and leave off for most of the world a song like Dirty Little Secret?
Oh my, what a song.
I mean, Dirty Little Secret is so good, and yet not good enough for the album. But Last Cigarette, which is the one Bon Jovi song that I refuse to listen to. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And I don't want to get into the whole political thing. I don't smoke, and I don't listen to it, not because of any kind of militancy. I don't listen to it because it doesn't speak to me. Because when somebody, I want to connect to a song, I feel like the last cigarette. Well, I don't know that feeling. I don't want to know that feeling. Yeah. So therefore, I don't want to listen to the song. So don't get me wrong. I'm not walking around with a billboard going down with. There's no militancy to me not listening to that song. It's just I don't relate to it. So why would I listen to it?
Well, in terms of Dirty Little Secret, I was very lucky not lucky to hear it because I would have eventually. But my brother bought me the album on the day it got released. And he bought himself the one with the bonus tracks and bought me just the standard edition. So I was made up of me 10, 12 songs, whatever's on the album. And then he came in and was like, have you listened to Dirty Little Secret? I was like, Dirty Little Secret? I don't have that song. And when he played it, I was like, how have I not got that song? How have you got that one and I haven't? Because it's just a phenomenal song, Dirty Little Secret, for me.
Yeah, and again, it's like these days, these are the songs that if they had put them on the album, you go, oh, Bon Jovi doesn't rock anymore. They've gotten soft. And then you look at the songs they left off of Have a Nice Day and you go, wow, had they put those in, especially take out Last Cigarette and a couple of others, you go, well, suddenly you've got this great rock album. So the band still wants to rock, still can rock. But for some reason, there are decisions made that, oh, no, we've got to keep them adult contemporary. We can't have them be, 1987 Bon Jovi. That's bad. And it's like, oh, stop it. Come on now,
the other song that was on my brother's bonus track edition album that he got with 2 extra songs was Unbreakable. That was track 14. What do you think of Unbreakable?
See, again. Yeah. Here's another song. So, all right, I punched it up. So you look at, Wildflower, Bells of Freedom, and stuff, and you go, all right, so take out Last Cigarette, take out Wildflower, and throw in Dirty Little Secret, and Unbreakable. Yeah. Now you've got an album. Yeah. Now you have got a classic Bon Jovi rock album. Yeah. But no, Wildflower, which I can't even think how that goes. I don't even know if I have it in my files. Well, do you remember that song?
Yeah, unfortunately. Again. I mean, I'm just looking at the track list now, and I'd say there's 3 or 4 songs you could, as you said there, you could easily take out, replace them with the songs that we've mentioned that weren't included, and it's probably the best Bon Jovi album since these days for me.
Yeah, and it's funny because I have, and I've talked about this often, but I have this 480 Bon Jovi song playlist, and I'm going through it, and I'm going alphabetically. There is no Wildflower, so if it can't make the top 480, Jesus, I talk to Jesus. You understand where Unbreakable and Dirty Little Secret should have been in there.
Oh, 100%. And as I say, if you've got them 2 songs, stick nothing in there, stick these Open Arms, and get rid of, as you said, Wildflower, Last Cigarette, potentially even something. What are your thoughts on Welcome to Wherever You Are? Because would you have got rid of that song, or would you leave that on the album? Because it's very hit and miss.
Welcome to it.
It's very hit and miss for a lot of fans. I think because of the lyrics more than anything.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. But definitely nothing should go in there instead of that. Yeah. Maybe even These Open Arms, which was a bonus track out in Japan, probably could go ahead of that. Yeah, that's the problem with Have a Nice Day. There's half filler, half killer. It's like I want all filler. I don't half killer.
When Have a Nice Day came out, I thought it was fantastic, and I still think. The songs that we haven't mentioned, the 5 or 6 songs that are on there are still really good songs. The likes of Have a Nice Day and I Want to Be Loved. And as I said, I'm still a fan of I Am and Complicated and whatever else. But there's definitely songs, as we've said, that you could take out, put it in, and it's all filler. It's all killer. Then literally, it's a fantastic album if you put in them 4 songs that didn't get put on the album.
Yeah, and again, the same can be said for these days. There's so many great tracks lying around, like The End and Wedding Day and Prostitute, which you could have put in there, and it would have been like, oh, look at that.
We'll move on to 2007 when Lost Highway came out, because obviously that album kind of divided a lot of fans instantly anyway, and to me, again, they kind of missed the trick with a couple of songs, because the most country-esque type songs, or Nashville influenced songs, however you want to call it, they left off. So Put the Boy Back in Cowboy was left off. And then the one song that really should have been on the album, and for me should have been a single, was Walk Like a Man.
Yeah, I mean, Walk Like a Man's a great song.
Yeah, it's such, like, it's still got that Bon Jovi sound, but it's got the country sound, which is obviously what they were going for. And I just can't understand why, as I said, let alone it wasn't released as a single, why it wasn't put on the album at all. I just can't understand why.
Was it a Japanese bonus track, or was it really a CD single thing?
Walk Like a Man.
That's a good question.
I think it was. It says here it was a Target, a US Target bonus track.
Okay.
So I mean I don't think I got to hear it till about a year or two after the album came out. To be honest with you, I think I first heard it in about 2008. I just wasn't aware of the song, if I'm not mistaken. And then when I first heard it, I was like, they've left this one off as well.
Yep. And it made my 480 song playlist, so it is better than Wildflower. But the great thing about the Lost Highway era was they did a Japanese tour edition of the album, and then they did another one with this concert recorded in Chicago.
Yeah.
So the tour edition has them doing these stripped down versions of Whole Lotta Leaving, Wanted Dead or Alive, and so great stuff. Yes, of course, they're remakes, but I really think Bon Jovi shines when they strip stuff down to the basic elements, voice, guitar, piano, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, this Lost Highway live in Chicago was another great one, and that's where I've always thought the band shines. So the live B-sides are where Bon Jovi shine as well, I think.
Yeah, but there's another song that was left off Lost Highway, and again, it's very similar to Nothing. It's probably certainly in my top 20 Bon Jovi songs of all time, I think anyway, which was Lonely.
Yeah.
I mean, what a song that is.
That's a great song, Lonely, and in my playlist. So let me see if I can punch that one up real quick. Wait, hold on. I'm thinking Lonely at the top. I'm thinking Lonely at the top. I can't find Lonely, but all right. But that is a great song too.
Very, very good song. Yeah, very, very good song. And it's just another one that you could probably take out.
Yeah, you could. On Lost Highway. Trying to think which ones we can get rid of. Well, The Last Night I can't remember, so maybe that one.
Yeah, probably for me. Yeah, it's a couple of the second half of the album, so The Last Night maybe even one step closer potentially. Yeah, I mean, I get the sentiment behind Seat Next to You, but I could probably live without that as well. And if you stick Lonely and Put the Boy Back in Cowboy and Walk Like a Man, again, there's a 10 times better album in my eyes.
Yeah. Oh, I fully agree, and it's remarkable that they do this. Where else do we go with this? Can we talk about some of the Richie Sambora B-sides?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So Richie Sambora, a few years ago, of course, did Undiscovered Soul, and there's a bunch of great B-sides running around. He does I'm trying to call it In It for Love is the name of the CD single. And on it he does Living on a Prayer live at Ronnie Scott's from, I guess, 1998 or something. That is probably the best version of the song ever recorded. It is soulful, it is introspective, it is poignant. And it's also really hard to find, I have to say. You know, it's incredibly hard to find that silly song. Do you know that song?
Yeah. Is it Ballad of Youth?
Ballad of Youth Ballad of Youth, of course, was on his first solo album. That's a great one.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there, what song was it called?
From what? From Undiscovered Soul?
Yeah.
Well, the song that it's on, or the CD single, is "In It for Love." Isn't that great?
A fantastic song, "In It for Love." I mean, I know Richie gets a lot of criticism, certainly over his last album, because the first two were solid albums, but I actually think that the last album that he done, which was Aftermath, I think that's probably better than almost, I'd say, 80% of the Bon Jovi albums since 2000 for me. I mean, I could be, that could just be my opinion, but there's just something that connected to it straight away. It takes me back to a nice time. It's just one of them albums that, I don't know, I kind of want Richie to go back to that. Forget like the duets with Orianthi, which thankfully looks like it has. Just go back to what you're good at for me.
Yeah, well, they've Orianthi and him have since broken up, so we won't be getting that anytime soon.
He's been with Bob Rock, hasn't he? He's been recording with Bob Rock again. Yeah,
so he was recording with Bob Rock, and if I'm not mistaken, they posted something on Instagram about a year ago with like Tommy Lee coming in to do the drums, and then that's it. He's gone.
It's just crazy. I thought the album would have been out around this time, but there's just been no news on it for a while, really.
Yeah, he's sort of fallen off the radar, which is unfortunate. I'd love to hear that album. I really think that on Aftermath, he hit his stride. There's a lot of great songs on there. And it's just, I think he finally found the right, I'm trying to look at it. Every Road Leads Home to You, Nowadays, even Sugar Daddy on that album, Backseat Driver. Come on, Richie, get that album out. We've got some fans that want to hear it.
Well, I think Backstreet Driver again is another one that wasn't on certainly my edition anyway. Was that at Japan? Because that's another one that I absolutely love. Backstreet Driver again. I didn't hear it for a year or so after the album came out, I don't think, but I just think it's it's a Richie song. His voice is stunning in it. It's quite upbeat. It's not too rocky. It's not too poppy. I just think it's a typical Richie song.
It really is, and again, it's one of the better songs. It's funny when you look at Bon Jovi's history and Richie Sambora, and most of the sort of Japanese editions or the Targets or the Best Buy, all those bonus tracks are sometimes the better songs or the best songs on the album. It's come on, strange.
I want to get your opinion on the one album that seems to have like next to no B-sides at all is the Circle album. Like, do you know why at all that there's no songs that, we never got to hear a demo or we never got to hear a B-side? There was nothing like that on the Circle album, and I'm wondering why we never got to hear anything from them recordings, because there is songs out there that I think, was it Rage of Angels or something like that, I think it was called, was meant to be for that album. I could be wrong, it might have been a bit later, but there's just absolutely nothing from that album that we've not heard.
Well, I'm going to make this suggestion about some of the later day Bon Jovi albums. I think we have gotten to the point, especially in marketing albums and marketing music, where, we don't sell cassette singles. We don't sell CD singles.
Yeah.
Putting out a B-side or a bonus track on Spotify or Apple Music makes no sense. So I think bands just hold on to them. I'm sure if you were to go into the Bon Jovi vaults, there must be, a half a dozen or more extra tracks that they recorded and they chose not to use, and so on and so forth. But there's no place to put them. The Japanese bonus track is give me one track, give me two tracks. most bands just get away by giving a live version of something or an acoustic version of something. Here you go, Japan, off you go. And I think that's why, because you look at all the subsequent albums, and that B-side stuff has become exceptionally irrelevant.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Lost Highway, there was still this push to sell stuff and to make collector's versions and collectibles and special versions. So you got the Japanese tour edition. You got the one with the Chicago concert. You got all these bonus tracks. You got the Walmart version. And I think there was still this push to get people to buy the physical product. But, you go to Spotify, you see, Bon Jovi's 2020. Well, what difference does it make if it says these 4 tracks are bonus tracks? You're just going to look at that and go,
yeah.
Well, how is it a bonus? It's right here.
Yeah,
well,
that's
it's a bonus.
true.
Yeah. And you go, bonus to what? It's a bonus track. But to what?
Yeah.
You put 14 songs up. So I think we've lost that drive to do that. I think really it's just a marketing thing, quite frankly.
And
Could be wrong.
That's the sad thing, because I mean, as I say, I'm still fairly young, but I still remember them, the days of like going to the record fairs, in the city centre, and I'd get like the Hey God album, and there'd be a B-side that I hadn't heard, or I'd get Midnight in Chelsea, and there was a, like Sad Song Night, which I hadn't heard by John Bon Jovi, and I was like, wow, I've never heard this, it wasn't on the album, so where's this come from? Whereas, as you said, if you was to go on Spotify and Sad Song Night comes up, you go, well, is it a bonus track? It's right here, as you've just said. So yeah, that's a very good point, to be fair.
I mean, it's just there, so it has sort of changed the way things are marketed. We'll see. I mean, 2020, the new album is going to come out at some point. I'm wondering, if they're going to have all these bonus tracks. Of course, hopefully they'll have a couple of good tracks, because as we said before, the couple of singles that have come out so far, I mean, they're okay, but they're not inspiring.
No, definitely, yeah. We'll go on to What About Now. So again, it's an album that a lot of fans thought was rushed. A lot of fans thought, the production was the letdown of the album. But again, one song that's always got me from the very first moment I heard it, and I think we spoke about it on the last podcast, was Into the Echo.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. Since that podcast, I don't think I've listened to a Bon Jovi song more than that, because it just brought it back. I listened to it, and then I got a couple of tweets and a couple of messages actually about that song, which is very rare really with these podcasts for anyone to kind of have memories or go back to a certain song, because we speak about them a lot. But Into the Echo is one that 90% of fans seem to absolutely love.
Look at that. I had you on mute. Whoops. Yeah, that one is, hey, listen, you don't want to hear the coffee cup do this, right? Yeah, it gets annoying. So you got to mute it. But yeah, Into the Echo, what a song. Here, let's do this. Here we go. Little Into the Echo for everybody. That is just a perfect beginning.
It is. It's just
a perfect beginning.
It gets you straight away.
And it's funny. What About Now gets a lot of hate from fans, and I think as an album that is perhaps justified, because there's sort of no flow that gets established. But when you take them apart and you put them again, I'll go on with the playlist. It's always about the playlist. But once you again take them out of context and you listen to I'm With You, Pictures of You, What's Left of Me, Army of One, which is a beautiful song, Beautiful World, Room at the End of the World. They're really great individual songs. And Into the Echo is the number one great song, and yet unavailable for most of the world. I think it was just the Japanese bonus track, and it's like, wow, man, if you're going to be a Bon Jovi fan, you really got to go live in Japan. Yeah. They get all the good stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
They're getting Dirty Little Secret, they're getting Unbreakable, they're getting Postcards from a Wasteland, they're getting Into the Echo. It's like, oh, okay, so maybe I shouldn't be a Bon Jovi fan in North America or the UK, right? Yeah. Poor Bon Jovi.
What if you was to take out one song on What About Now and put Into the Echo into the album, what song would you take out? What song would you replace it with?
Ooh, that is all right. Let me. I'm gonna look at the whole track listing because that one's a bit of Let's see. That is a complicated proposition. All right, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at these because we can. Amen. Maybe no. That's what the water made me is fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant. It's one of my favorites.
You know, the only two that I'm looking at the track listing, the only two that I cannot get a running soundtrack in my head for are The Fighter and Thick as Thieves. The other ones, as I see the titles, I can sort of get the music going. So maybe those two, just because if I can't remember them, maybe they're just not memorable and therefore not worthy of being on the album. Now, of course, I'll probably go back and listen to them in 10 minutes and go, oh man, that's a great song. But for now, I can't think of Thick as Thieves or The Fighter. So maybe one of those two has to go.
Yeah, I'd probably choose The Fighter. Thick as Thieves, I think, is a very, very good song. But The Fighter, I always thought to end an album on was just a bit meh. Like it was just, it's literally just John by the sounds of it. And I know he definitely wrote it on his own, but I'd take that out. And I think Into the Echo would be perfect to end an album on as well, because it's quite soft, but it's not too soft.
Right. Yeah. So okay, maybe that. Get rid of The Fighter. The Fighter's got to go. I'm gonna check. I don't even have The Fighter in my iTunes, which is amazing.
With These Two Hands was another one as well. It's always, I mean, it's never been my favourite song With These Two Hands, but again, it maybe could have replaced something on there, as you say, maybe a Thick as Thieves, or I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Amen, in all honesty. What are your thoughts on Amen as a song?
It's lukewarm. It's not the greatest song in the world, but it's not horrible. And when he does it live, he does sort of sell it with conviction. Yeah. So, you know, I can't complain too much about that one. It's not the one I'm going to go running to, but it's not horrible.
Well, the first ever album that I ever got and listened to in full from Bon Jovi was Crush, and I think the B-sides and the demos from that era are just like Neurotica, Stay. I mean, I Can Make a Living Out of Loving You was a bonus track, I think, and definitely in the UK, I'm not sure where else. Ain't No Cure for Love, I think it was Crush, I think. I may be wrong, but I'm saying...
No, ain't no...
I think that was the B-side to Say This and So, I think.
Yeah, Ain't No Cure for Love is a B-side, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was on the Say This and So cassette. That was the first ever. Hush, that was another one. That was on my It's My Life cassette as well. There was just so many great songs around that time.
But Neurotica and I Could Make a Living Out of Loving You. So you take those two songs and you take out maybe She's a Mystery or maybe Mystery Train, and you put those two in, and then all of a sudden you've got It's My Life, Neurotica, and people go, oh, hey, it's a great rock album. And now you listen to it and you hear Say It Ain't So, Thank You for Loving Me, Two Story Town, and it's just one sort of slow song after a slow song, and you go, oh, okay, right already. And you throw those in, and it's like, great. Now, that said, there's a Japanese bonus disc for the album that includes Runaway, but a very sort of slow, brooding version of Runaway, very different than the song, the single, and one of my favorite versions of the song. So, you know, slow isn't always bad.
Yeah, definitely,
But boy, the Crush... Boy, I'm telling you, if you reorder the songs in Crush, you get I Got a Girl and you throw it up a little to the front. One Wild Night, you throw it to the front. I Can Make a Living Out of Loving You, Neurotica, you throw them, you know, track 5 and track 6, and you intersperse it, and you get rid of a lot of that soft suddenly you've got 12 great songs. I'm pretty sure people aren't running around going, "Ooh, Save the World. That's my favorite Bon Jovi song." It really is.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that.
And it's it with the Crush era, it's a bit of a mix up for a lot of fans, because obviously a year or two prior to that was meant to be the Sex Cells album where he wrote a bunch of songs. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Hush was played back in 1998. You Can't Lose At Love and Gimme Some and all them type of songs, which are now also classed as Crush B-sides. So there's literally, I think Crush is probably up there for having the most B-sides and demos on a Bon Jovi album, just because there's two albums almost mixed into one that didn't even make it to an album, if that makes any sense.
It does. They had recorded an incredible amount, and if you look at the box set, a lot of those unreleased demos come from sort of that time period. It's sort of the box set in almost larger sense are a collection of demos that stretch from like These Days through Crush and Bounce, and it's sort of that 10-year period where they made a whole bunch of great songs but released none of them. You're just like, oh, okay, thank you, boys. Like on Bounce, you have Every Day, which I know they thought was going to be the next big single. It was going to be the next You Give Love a Bad Name. It's a good song. I like the song. It's not that great. Not that great compared to You Give Love a Bad Name. It's a great song. Love the Bounce album. But they have a B-side, which is Everyday Acoustic. And when I hear that version resonates with me. And I'm wondering, had they maybe done it as an acoustic piece, a lot more production and make it, sound a little beefier, but done it in that more acoustic, would it maybe have had more success? Because it does work better to me as sort of the working man with jeans and a guitar, just sort of punching out that acoustic version.
I agree, yeah, and I think what kind of sums it up as well is sometimes I'll have like Bon Jovi played It's My Life the other day, the stripped down version live on TV, like the This Left Feels Right version, and my girlfriend prefers it to the original. Now obviously as a diehard Bon Jovi fan, I'm like, yeah, it's good, but obviously the original for me is up there obviously, but she loves it. And I think maybe to people who aren't familiar with Bon Jovi, as you said, if they put Every Day on there, it could have probably done 10 times better.
Oh yeah, I agree. Now, I'm not going to dispute your girlfriend saying that It's My Life, the slow version, is bad. It's a good version, and that video the other day was fun to watch. And I have to say, if they do sort of an intimate show, a couple hundred people at a whatever promo event, and they play it like that, I'm in, I'm down. That works for me. I think if you go to a stadium show or an arena show and they come out and they do Runaway, the slow version, and then they follow it up by It's My Life, the slow version, at some point you go, hey, John,
that's enough.
Plug your guitar in, my boy, and let's get some rocking going. It's My Life I don't think it works permanently as a slow song. I think it's nice to give that interpretation for special events.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting at Wembley and they come out and they do na 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 na, I go, no, John, back up the truck. Let's start that over. Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, as I said, I'm not against the It's My Life, This Left Feels Right version, but for the TV performance, it was lovely. But I was like, to say it's better, I have to disagree with that. But each to their own, I suppose. Sometimes I'll never win with my girlfriend, so I've got to take it on the chin.
But This Left Feels Right. There is on the cover. There is a person. We're assuming John sitting there with his suitcase.
Yeah.
Just say to your girlfriend the next time that she says that, she goes, "You see that cover? That's going to be you if you say that again. It's going to be you."
I never thought of that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. You'll be the person on that cover if you ever say that nonsense again.
She won't be taking my Bon Jovi suitcase, put it that way. I'll be keeping that.
By the way, did they ever sell those Bon Jovi suitcases? Because that would have been a perfect marketing thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think they ever did, unfortunately. But I really like that album cover, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, This Left Feels Right. I mean, I know we're talking about bonus tracks. That Oh, that was a difficult album, let me tell you. But they do have the bonus tracks of The Distance that they recorded live in Japan, and Joey recorded live in Japan. And they had a DVD which accompanies it, and it has my favorite thing ever that Bon Jovi's ever done. If you're watching the DVD, at one point, David Bryan, during one of the songs, screws up a part. And he's looking right at the camera, and I don't know why they didn't cut this out, but he goes, fuck. He says the F-U-C-K word. And you can tell that he screwed up, and you can tell that he's sort of mad at himself. And you're watching this DVD going, did you see that? And I'm telling you, my wife and I, we look at that and we just laugh every time because he's like, do. It's like, dude. And I'm just surprised they left that in there. But I guess it sort of shows, right? For the bonus material, you throw a couple of cameras, you get a couple of operators, off you go. We're not going to spend too much time on post-production because that's a lot of money. Just slap it, slapdash, throw it out there. But I'm trying to think what song it was. It might have been a version of In These Arms. Anyway, if you haven't seen it and you have that DVD, now I have the Japanese one that had a couple more tracks, so I don't know. But go try to find that and just watch it, and you'll see him getting all upset, and it's funny as heck. It's really funny.
Well, I'm glad that we've actually got onto this Left Field, right? Because, I mean, I didn't know this until a few years after again, but there was 2 songs that were actually written for this Left Field Right album that weren't Bon Jovi songs at the time. Well, obviously hadn't been released. Them 2 were Last Man Standing and Thief of Hearts, which obviously Last Man Standing then made it to the Have a Nice Day album, which was totally reworked. And Thief of Hearts, I think, was still put, like, the original version was put on the box set with the original Last Man Standing version as well. But what do you think of them 2 songs? Because, Last Man Standing, the first version where it's quite slow, and Thief of Hearts, which is a totally different Bon Jovi song in my eyes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll say this. Had they added 2 extra tracks to this Left Fields Right, I think it would have made the album a little more palatable for fans. You just looked at it and you went, oh, you ruined Every Day. Oh, you ruined You Give Love a Bad Name. Oh, But had we done, oh, okay, well, I got 2 extra tracks. All right, I'll give you that. Thank you, guys. Yeah. It's unfortunate that they left it off, but Last Man Standing is interesting because, it's one thing to write a song, but a song comes to life via its interpretation, via the performance, and you hear the version on the box set, or one of the versions on the box set, that's a little slower, and I think even some lyrical changes, and you go, oh, what is that?
Yeah. And
then, of course, you hear the Have a Nice Day version, you go, oh, look at that, the Back to Rockin'. Both great versions, and the other song you mentioned is also, it's an interesting addition to a box set. Had they put it on this Left Fields Right, like I said, I think it would have been a nice added bonus and added incentive to sort of make an effort to like the album. If you take that song though and put it on Have a Nice Day, or you put it on What About Now, I think we're going, okay, let's move along.
Yeah.
It's a good song, not a great song. Would have been perfect as a bonus track or as a new version or new song on this Left Fields Right. I don't think it works anywhere else though.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, I mean, Thief of Hearts, I never put it with this Left Fields Right. Obviously, when I heard it on the box set, I always thought it was off something like Crush or potentially the Sex Cells album, just because I think it sounds so different. And at that time, so does the things like Hush, You Can't Lose Love and stuff. And I always thought it's just a totally different Bon Jovi song in my eyes.
By the way, when I first heard Hush, I thought it was a Deep Purple cover. And then I heard the song and I went, oh, it's not a cover. Dang.
It's like Hush is one of them songs that it's not something I go back to, but it takes me back to a good time because it was one of the first ever Bon Jovi songs I listened to, obviously with becoming a fan in 2000. So it's a song that always takes me back, and it's one that I'll always, as I said, I never really listen to it anymore, but it's just a song that I'll always praise in some way or another.
of course. I mean, it's a great, fun music. Let's look at the bounce demos for a second.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of great bounce demos.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to call them up here on the computer, but there's so many great songs. No Regrets.
Yeah.
What are some of the other ones that we can talk about real quick?
There was Postcards from the Wasteland, which We Can Dance.
Yeah, We Can Dance. That's a great song.
Really nice song, that. What was the other one that I really liked off Bounce? Is it Standing? That's it. Standing.
I'm still standing.
Yeah. Oh, like, it's so, like, again, you could have put that on the album, and taken out something like Joey or Misunderstood or something like that.
Yeah, Joey. Yeah, you see, and that's again the problem with Bon Jovi. They had so many of these songs that just aren't working, and yet I guess they're on the album because they figure that at some point they could be a single for adult contemporary radio and make everybody happy and make everybody a lot of money, but ultimately they just don't work.
Yeah.
Here, let me listen to Standing. Yeah, there. What a good song. What
Really
a great
good
song.
Yeah, really, really good song.
And of course, Everyday Acoustic and boy. But you know what? And I'm trying to think, was it that or there was some pretty watered down B-sides for, I guess, Crush, like Temptation or whatever it was.
Yeah, Temptation. Yeah, there's for the Bounce one there was Alive, which is another quite like upbeat, rocky, quite typical Bon Jovi like pop rock song, which was off the Bounce. Well, wasn't on the Bounce album, but it was written for Bounce as well, which was that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I quite like that, to be honest with you. It's again when
by
John
the way,
starts singing, it's quite different.
Alive, which is very hard to find. It is a B-side to the All About Loving You single.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass to track down. Such a great rock song, and I'm so good that in my massive playlist, it's within the top 15 songs. Wow. I just love that song. I think Alive is great.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely more off the Bounce album. I like B-sides. There's definitely, because there was a lot, if I remember right, for the Bounce, and then as we've kind of touched on, since maybe Have a Nice Day, that's where it kind of dropped down a little bit, where you got to hear different B-sides. But Alive's a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one of my favourites. So we'll go back to the 90s. But one of my favourite ever Bon Jovi songs, and I actually remember hearing it for the first time. I must have been about 12 years old. I think my brother got me an MP3 player and put it on. Was Save a Prayer off the Keep the Faith album.
Save a Prayer. By the way, we forgot to mention Another Reason to Believe.
Oh, Another Reason. Yeah, that's
okay. Hold on. Let me just finish with Bounce. So we talked about Alive. So we have Another Reason to Believe. Breathe.
Wow. Yeah.
Breathe is a great Bounce demo. There's a live version of Celluloid Heroes with Ray Davies, which is fantastic. Lucky. Did we mention Lucky?
Lucky as well. Wow.
No Regrets.
Jeez, there was loads, wasn't there?
There is Undivided, the demo version, which was a B-side, which I think actually sounds better than the album version. And then We Can Dance.
And I think Undivided was called One, wasn't it? At the time.
Might have been, yeah. So there's a lot of great B-sides for that album. And I think, listen, you take Joey, Misunderstood, and some of those that you mentioned. You throw in Alive, you throw in Another Reason to Believe, you throw in Breathe, Lucky, and suddenly it becomes the greatest album Bon Jovi's ever released. So,
I actually think as well with Bounce as well, there was a lot of demos of the songs that actually made it to the album. So as you said, there was Undivided, which was called One, Every Day, I think we got a demo. Joey, we got a demo.
Well, every day we got four. We got Every Day Acoustic, Every Day Demo, Every Day Live, and there was Every Day Rock Mix. Yeah. There was a ton of Every Day running around.
As you said, I think that was almost, they were trying to push that song as if it was the next It's My Life or Living on a Prayer or Bad Name, as you stated before. And I think they really pumped like the promotion of that song with different versions. But there was definitely like a demo, like a unreleased version of it, what it first sounded like. And I think it might have been Right Side of Wrong, which was the other one. I think there was All About Loving You, which was a demo. And I think the other one might have been Right Side of Wrong, but I could be wrong there. But we got a lot of demos of the actual songs that made the album on that album as well, which is interesting, really.
Yeah, well, you've got, let's see. Yeah, you're right. Right Side of Wrong was also released as a demo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of demos. There was a song also called Satellite. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that made it to the box set. Was that written for Bounce, was it?
It was apparently written for Bounce.
John's voice is very, very high on it. I like Satellite, really like Satellite. That made it to the box set, that one.
Yeah, so just a lot of great stuff. So for the next episode, we're gonna have to go through all the live bonus tracks and the live stuff. Just so many great stuff.
It is.
Back on these days, though, they were doing the Red Banks, New Jersey Christmas shows, and they also brought that up to Montreal at Théâtre Saint-Denis, which I happened to see the show, which is still one of the greatest things I've ever seen because it was Bon Jovi at the height of their career in a little sort of 2,000 seat place. It was unbelievable. But what I like is that a lot of those songs were released as B-sides. So every time I listen to those B-sides, goes recorded at Place Saint-Denis, I go, hey, I was there. Yay. Yay for me. Yay for me. They love Montreal.
What do you think of Good Guys Don't Always Wear White?
I like that song.
Yeah. I mean,
Good Guys Don't Always... If we're going to talk soundtracks, the Armageddon song, Mr. Big Time, that's where you want to go.
Mr. Big Time? Wow, I haven't heard that for a long time.
Let's see. Let's punch that up.
But it was between that and Save the World, wasn't it? That they were going to give almost to Armageddon, along with obviously the Aerosmith song, and then Save the World obviously made... Here
we go. Let's do some Mr. Big Time. Come on. All these great... I got to turn it off. All these great rock songs.
That's like typical, again, like that's old, like Bon Jovi, heavy intro, just get you straight away type song, that.
Yeah, that and Alive. That and Alive are the two songs, if you don't know, you've got to go discover. Those are great songs.
Really good songs.
Are you ready for the big time? Such a great song.
I prefer that version, to be honest.
Yeah. You prefer my version?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm a much better singer.
I want to get your thoughts as well, because a few years back I went to a record shop in Liverpool and they had the These Days European to this special edition These Days album in for like 99p, and I obviously had the standard edition, but I'd obviously heard all the extra songs that came with it. And I didn't realise just how good Bon Jovi's version of Mrs. Robinson was. Yeah,
it's a great version.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah. And 6, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
That is a good... There is a version of These Days that comes out sort of a gatefold, if you want, in a light blue packaging.
Yeah.
That has these things. Now... It has David Bryan singing a song, and it has Tico Torres singing a song. We'll just pretend that those never happened. Just pretend that never happened. But the stuff where either John or Richie are singing, it's just a great little package. And I remember going into a shop in Montreal called Rock on Stock, which has now gone bankrupt years ago. I mean, like 20 years ago, went bankrupt, closed. And I saw this These Days light purple, and I guess it was like $40 or something, and I looked at the track listing and I went, holy mackerel, there's like 10 extra tracks here. And I bought it, still have it, and hey, 6, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. You can't beat that. That is great stuff.
And John still plays that at some of his little solo shows as well.
Yeah. You can't beat that.
Yeah, which is good, because we don't really get obviously much from these days at all. But yeah, that still gets played.
Yeah. I'm looking at, by the way, Thieves of Hearts, and it is a unreleased studio track from 2003. Oh, wow. So it's got to be right after Bounce, right? Because Bounce was 2002.
Yeah, it was for the This Left Feels Right album with Last Man Standing. That's what them two they were meant to be like the two new Bon Jovi songs that were going to get released.
Hey, it's not bad. It's got a great intro.
Yeah, I like Thief of Hearts. I mean, my brother hates it, absolutely hates it, but I love it. I really like it.
Yeah, but I'm biased. I like Bon Jovi. I like his voice. I like the way the songs are put together. And, musicologists can argue all they want about vocal performance and stylistic. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
I like it. My ears like it. I like, that's what the water, whatever. And I like Social Disease. I don't care if you don't like it. People always say, they should have left Social Disease off of Slippery. No, they shouldn't have. Stop it. It's a good song.
Yeah, I like it. There's so many. I mean, it's more now that I kind of go, as we've said, with the things like the Have a Nice Day bonus tracks, I'm like, that's where they should have left off. But I think songs like Social Disease, it kind of shows Bon Jovi was still new to it all. Even back, even with the third album, it was still a song you'd expect them to release at that time. Maybe now you'd go, oh wow, but at the time, when they're in the 20s, it's a little bit different for me, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, and let me go. My brain is racing everywhere here, but the "Shot Through the Heart" live version from '85, that was a bonus track. Mm-hmm. Where they say, you were 10 and I was 6, we made of horses, made us. Anyway, that version, that's a great version. Did you ever pick up, by the way, somewhere around the 2000s, Bon Jovi reissued all their albums in Japan as double discs?
Yeah, in 2010, I think. Something like that. And the
was it that late? No, wasn't it earlier? But regardless, those double albums of the first one, the second, with all these live tracks, with all this extra material, it is so good. And a couple of years ago, maybe this is the one you're thinking of, they put out that album box set in Japan.
That could be the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
Which has everything in like paper sleeves.
Yes, that's the one. And there's like 2 or 3 live versions at the end of the albums.
Yeah, that's different than what I'm talking about. They've reissued the catalog twice in Japan, or well, more than twice. But these 2 specific versions, the other ones are actual jewel cases where with a flip, you flip to disc 1 and then you pull out the middle part and it goes to disc 2. Those were early 2000s. A lot of great unreleased stuff on there. There's, New Jersey has a whole bunch of songs recorded live in Lakeland, Florida, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then this box set, the Bon Jovi complete, so many great songs. And what's great about both of them is that they remastered everything, and those albums sound so much better than what was locally available. And if you can find them, first of all, good luck. But if you can, those are the ultimate editions of all the albums. The paper sleeve box set that you're referring to, and that one you can sort of find online, usually anywhere from like $200 to $300 and so on. So the ones I'm talking about, the double disc versions, those are impossible to find. And if you do find them, I mean, I bought them when they came out, but if you do find them, they're probably going to cost you $100, $150 per album.
Yeah.
But so good, and the bonus material is so fantastic.
Well, the ones that I was saying in 2010, I was quite lucky because, as you said there, when the box set came out, it was something like £200, I think, to get. Whereas in HMV, a local shop here, the albums were $2.99 each. So I just got them individually. I was like, well, I've got them now, $2.99 each. Can't complain there.
Can't complain there. No, no.
So I was made up.
So there you go. So what else do we should we discuss, or should we? What are we? An hour in? Maybe we should just.
Well, I just want to speak about Save a Prayer. That's one song in particular that I'd like to talk about if possible, because as I said that was a song that just instantly, it's such a different intro. You know, it's got like the chant at the start, then it goes straight into like the guitar, which is quite heavy, and John's got this like almost like he's talking to like a speaker. Oh, it's just what a song! What a song!
Yeah, and see, there we go again. There's another song that they left off the album, which had they put on the album, everybody be going, "Wow, Keep the Faith was such a great song." So they left that off. What else did they leave off on that one? Was it only Save a Prayer, or no? Wasn't there?
Starting All Over Again.
Starting All Over Again. That's the one.
Brilliant song as well.
Starting All Over Again. That's such a
really good song.
Here, and I just looked it up, by the way. Those Japanese special editions that I was talking about were released in 1998. Now, I'll give you since we're talking about Keep the Faith, the bonus disc on the Keep the Faith had 9 songs. So Keep the Faith at Count Basie 1992, In These Arms live at Count Basie, I Believe live at Count Basie, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, in Milton Keys, Bed of Roses acoustic, Cama de Rosa, the Spanish version, Save a Prayer, and Starting All Over Again. So it's and they did this for every album.
Yeah. Back
in '98. These special editions, so good, and it just takes an album like Keep the Faith or like Bounce, or not Bounce, These Days, and adds all this material, and you're just like, wow, look at that. By the way, If I Was Your Mother should have been a single.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it.
They made a video, didn't they? Actually, they didn't make a single.
Yeah, I don't think it.
Well, it should have been a big single.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They definitely made a video for it, and I'm saying it got released here, but I might be wrong.
It's weird to think, because a lot of bands, what they do, and some fans may or may not know this, is they'll do a release and then they will rent out a sound stage or whatever, and they will go record 3 or 4 songs in the same day, same weekend, same week, and they have this footage, and then they figure, okay, we'll get 6 months down the road, and we'll use this for that single, and we'll use it. So they do it all at once, and then the album goes great, and all the videos come out, and everybody's happy. And sometimes the album goes south, and they go, well, forget it, we're not going to release this. So I know If I Was Your Mother was there. Even Never Say Goodbye has a video for it, but I don't know if they were officially released as video singles or not.
Yeah, If I Was Your Mother definitely wasn't here, and did you say Never Say Goodbye?
Yeah, Never Say Goodbye had a video. Now I know that it was released in North America to radio.
Yeah.
But it was never released as a video to MTV or Much Music in Canada. But the video does exist.
Yeah.
It's live performance footage.
It was released as a single in the UK. It reached number 21 and spent 5 weeks in the charts.
Right, as a radio single, but I don't think they ever released a video single, which was very important back in that.
Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, boy, let's see. All right, let's play this game again. So, Save a Prayer and Starting All Over Again. What do we take out?
See, this is a tough one. So I would probably have to go with...
I like all of these.
Woman in Love, I'd have to take out.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
And
it's not a bad song, but I have to keep it to these 12 songs. So we pull out Woman in Love, you put Save a Prayer right there.
Yeah.
And I would take Starting All Over Again, and I would stick it first, because, we're starting all over again. It's sort of, it becomes a shout out to the fans, and then you go straight into I Believe, hey, we're starting all over again, and I know you believe, yay. But what do we take out? Maybe I Want You.
Yeah, that's one that I was maybe thinking of. It's probably, again, not a bad song, but yeah.
See, like, I like Blame It on the Love of Rock and Roll, and I like A Little Bit of Soul, but maybe one of those has. Nah.
Yeah, I think it's one of the last 3 songs on the album you take out. It's just which one.
Yeah, you see, if I believe "Keep the Faith, I Sleep When I'm Dead," "In These Arms," "Bed of Roses," they gotta stay. "If I Was Your Mother" is a great song, it's gotta stay. "Dry County," well, we know it's gotta stay. "Fear," I love "Fear." I think "Fear" is a great
fantastic
song. I love. I really like "Blame It on the Love of Rock and Roll." So "Woman in Love" gets thrown out because we have to, and I think I like a little bit of soul more than I like "I Want You."
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
So "Woman in Love" and "I Want You" tossed out.
Yeah. Wow,
there you go.
That was probably the hardest one, I think, to choose. To choose.
That is a tough one. Actually, let's play. Let's see if we can play it. We'll play one more, and then I'm gonna. Let me see here. Let me go over to New Jersey for a second. New Jersey had a lot of great singles, a lot of great bonus material. Right? You have "Let's Make It Baby." You have "Love Is War." You have eventually on the box set "House of Fire." Does It Really Fall in Love Anymore? You have "Diamond Ring," which was re-recorded later for These Days. So, what did we throw out? All right. Well, because of the recording, I would throw "Ride Cowboy Ride" out. I don't like that scratchy noise they stuck on it. Always irritated me. So that's got to go. So "Homebound Train" gets tossed. Good song, but I would much rather have "Love Is War."
I love "Love Is War." Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, see, you want tough. Sorry. "Lay Your Hands" has to stay. "Bad Medicine" has. Oh, "Living in Sin." You could throw that out.
Really? Yeah.
Well, it's a good song, but I mean, if we're comparing it to "Love Is War"
True.
or to
true,
or to you know what, I would take "Let's Make It Baby" over "Living in Sin. Again, I love "Living in Sin." But we're playing the game here. "Blood on Blood" has to stay. "Homebound Train's" a great song, but if I got to throw stuff out, I'm taking. Am I taking "House of Fire" or am I taking "Diamond Ring"? Does anybody fall in love? Maybe. All right. What are you throwing out?
If I had to on that album, I don't think people are going to like this, but probably "Love for Sale."
Ooh. Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, again, like the New Jersey album, it's hard to find a song that isn't good. I understand why you take "Ride Cowboy Ride" out, because it's a decent intro to stick to your guns, but it's a nothing song. You could easily put it, as you said, "Love Is War" in for that.
And that fake vinyl scratchy production sound they stuck on it is so irritating.
It always reminded me of when on the film Toy Story, when it turns to Woody and he's a cowboy. It always reminded me of that for some reason. So yeah, you could probably take that out.
Toss it, throw it out. Goodbye.
What are your thoughts on 99 in the Shade?
I like 99 in the Shade. I don't like 99. Stick to your guns. No, "Stick to Your Guns" has to be in there.
Yeah.
Written by Holly Knight, who I actually had a communication with yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know what? "Ride Cowboy Ride," because of the way it's put on the. Had it been a clean studio version without the nonsense, I would have kept it. But that's got to go. "Living in Sin" it was them, I guess, trying to create a big ballad, but it just sort of comes off as a little too formulaic. So I'm sticking in "Love Is War" instead. There you go.
I love Is War. Like how that never made New Jersey as well. As I said, that's another one that my brother made me listen to, because I never had it on any obviously albums or anything, and it just blew me away the first time I heard it. Fantastic song, still is.
I would really love to see Bon Jovi release an album of B-sides, and I'll even accept them re-recording these songs with the current band, if that's how it, I don't know how their contracts and how the legal stuff works. I don't know if they can just release whatever they want to release, but let's say they can't, then I would live with re-records. And if they can, gather up 15 of these songs and throw them out there, my friends. Put a nice package together. The 2020 album, because of COVID and all that, all delayed. So just take this stuff that's sitting around, stick it all on one CD, make a vinyl, remaster everything, remix it, make everything sound equal, and let's just toss it out there. I think that fans would really dig that. I really do. Yeah. And the Born to Be My Baby acoustic version is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really, really good. I was saying, I put on Twitter today, these days is 25 years next month. Like, imagine like the band, while this is happening, giving us like a one night only. I mean, I know Richie's not there and whatever else, but a one night only home performance of the songs. As you said, even if they're reworked, just give us something at the moment while we're waiting for a new album.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't understand why they delayed the album, and I don't understand why any artist delays the album. You've got a lot of people at home bored to tears who haven't had, especially us older folks, who haven't had a chance to connect with music. When you're a teenager and your door's locked and you don't want mom and dad to come in, and you sit there and you listen to New Jersey ad nauseum, and you learn every word and you know every wrinkle in the CD booklet or whatever. We don't have time for that now.
Yeah.
But now we do. So, we're all stuck in this lockdown, almost as if we were teenagers locked in our room. So give me the music. And so many bands have delayed stuff. And I'm just like, why? And I've talked to a couple of artists, and they go, well, the manufacturing plants are closed, so we can't get the CDs made. And it's like, all right. Yeah. But that's not true with Spotify or Apple Music. Yeah, but some fans still like. I go, yeah, me. I like CDs. I don't subscribe to Apple Music. I don't subscribe to Spotify, and I never will. I like holding on to the physical product, but I would wait.
Yeah.
I'll put it out. Let us have it out there. Let us sit in our rooms, locked in with the headphones on, studying all the words and all the. Well, I mean, you can't look at the artwork, but you can stare at your screen, I guess, which is sort of not as exciting. But let us do that. We have time, so we could actually enjoy these albums the way we did 30 years ago. And no, we're going to delay it.
Yeah. I'm a bit disappointed that we haven't. There's not going to be anything that we're going to get from them, but. Hopefully, with them starting to use that Zoom and doing home performances, hopefully they can give us something, whether it's a greatest hit show or anything. We just need something at the moment, I think, just to cheer us up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, the lockdown in Quebec is essentially coming to an end on June 1st. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I mean, our stores are now back to being open 7 days a week. Summer camps for kids are opening officially on June 20th. Hairdressers and dog grooming and all that opened yesterday. So
slowly but surely, we're getting there.
Yeah, and then of course we'll see what happens when everything spikes and everybody starts dying. We'll probably be in lockdown by October, but whatever.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. So we'll wrap it up here, and as you said, hopefully we can do a part 3. And what I'd like to speak about is the box set in full one day as well with you, because that's 4 or 5 albums worth of B-sides, demos, unreleased tracks, and that's a whole different. That's 5 albums just to talk about there. So I'd like to get some thoughts on some songs that got released there, and demos like Always and Someday I'll Be Saturday Night and Living on a Prayer, and things that we never heard before. And as you said, maybe speak about the live shows one day.
Yeah, I'd love to speak about the live shows. Going to a Bon Jovi show is one of the greatest things that a person can do.
And hopefully it gives you an opportunity to speak about that story just one more time for me.
My famous Bon Jovi in Quebec story.
The best.
I think fans dug that story.
Oh yeah.
It was the greatest story, and the great thing about that venue, the Colisée Pepsi, which is now gone, replaced by a new building, is that trick, and I think I mentioned it. That trick worked other times. Yeah. There was a Whitesnake Scorpions Dawkins show. And it was in 2003, I believe, and I did the exact same thing. I went, well, it worked once before, drove up early, parked early, the black shorts, the black T-shirt, the whole roadie look, refused to speak French. So you get up there and they go, hey, qu'est-ce que tu fais? And you just go, I'm looking for the bathroom, dude. They go, oh, I got to be with the band. I'm telling you, I got to go into catering with the Scorpion guys. Now, I'm not a jerk about it. I didn't go eat. I might have taken a water, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But I was right there next to Rudolf Schenker and Klaus and man, too bad we didn't have great cell phones back then. I would have had great pics.
Yeah, imagine.
But I got to watch who was it? I got to watch, I think, Dawkins drum tech assemble the kit. I was just like,
unbelievable.
It's like, man, this Quebec secure and remember, this is post 9/11. You would like reasonably within like 2 or 3 years, you would think there would be a heightened sense of security and everybody would be, hey, who's this guy? He doesn't have a pass. The pass was I looked like a roadie and I spoke English. That was the pass.
It's crazy that honestly, like as you said, the response to that story was it was what I expected because I mean, as I said, that's a dream for every Bon Jovi fan to have that type of experience. But you've done it at multiple shows.
I know.
Even like,
I mean, I got to shake John Bon Jovi's hand, and I spent whatever it was, 40 or 45 minutes talking to Hugh McDonald as if we were longtime friends.
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
Party room. And it's funny because after I mentioned that show and people heard it, I had a couple of people that I know here. They go, "Oh yeah, I was responsible for setting up the party room. That was my," people in the industry that work here and know me now. They're like, "Oh hey, yeah, I was responsible for setting up the party room. They wanted 75 ladies with champagne and." Now I don't know if there was champagne. I don't remember if there was champagne, but yeah, this guy was telling me, hey, I was responsible for setting that up. That was my gig at the venue. I had to. So
that's incredible, absolutely incredible story.
Oh, we love our Bon Jovi. Anyway, on that, merci, monsieur. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, honestly, thanks very much for coming on for the second one. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure this one's going to get many views as well.
Great. Well, if I can help, anytime we talk Bon Jovi, and if you ever start a Def Leppard podcast, I'm in too.
I'll see what I can do.
Bon Jovi. Listen, if you could take, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, and Whitesnake and throw them on a bill next year, I'd be in heaven.
Yeah. Never know. Def Leppard played with them in the summer, so you never know.
Yeah, not here though. UK.
I think it was.
We need a full American stadium tour with Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, and Whitesnake.
Stranger things have happened. Never know. You never know.
Huh? Yeah, got it. Let's hope.
Fingers crossed.
And let's see what the Bon Jovi album is called next year. The one good thing I'll say, and this is my little nastiness for the day, is I hope if it does get released next year, they dream up of some new cover art, because the cover art was very
Yeah, no, I'm completely in agreement with you there.
And I'm not really sure about the title 2020. I mean, is it a reference to the year? Maybe. Is it a reference to 2020 vision, like looking back, or like, I don't know. Just give it a name for crying out loud.
It all seems a little bit lazy and rushed in my eyes, but.
Well, the cover and title does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Never know. Hopefully we get.
But anyway, let's celebrate the band. Let's start an online petition for a Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Whitesnake 2021.
We can do it. We can do
that. All right, thank you, sir.
Mitch, thanks very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.